Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen, and today's video is going to be a Top 5 Wednesdays video. Top 5 Wednesday is hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. I'll leave her channel links down below, as well as the Goodreads group if you would like to check out future topics. So this week's topic for Top 5 Wednesday is the top 5 books that you read because of BookTube. Now, I feel like there's two different ways you can go with this topic. There's the top 5 books you read because of BookTube that you absolutely loved, and then there are the top 5 books that you read because of BookTube that you absolutely hated. I actually want to do both of them, but today I decided to just go ahead and do more of a positive video and show you guys which books that I absolutely loved that I read because I was influenced by BookTube. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first book that I read because of BookTube was a book that I was not planning on reading at all. It wasn't interesting, I didn't like the concept very much, and honestly, even though it was so hyped up, I just didn't think I would enjoy it very much because it wasn't something that I would normally read a lot of. And it is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So the idea of sci-fi set in outer space just didn't appeal to me. It wasn't a genre that I read very much, but I ended up reading this book because it was so hyped up when it first came out, and also my book club decided to make the second book in the series the book pick of the month, and I ended up loving this book. I love it so much. It became one of my favorite books of all time. The characters are amazing, the plot line is amazing, and the format of the way this book is written is amazing. And I'm so glad that I decided to go ahead and listen to BookTube and read this book because it's fantastic. And the next book that I read because of BookTube that I absolutely love is a book that I just recently read, and it is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I like contemporaries, but they're not the first genre that I usually go for when I choose what to read next. But this book is so popular on BookTube, this author is so popular on BookTube, and I loved this book. It was so cute, it was fantastic. I loved the character growth of the main character, I loved the love interest, and I connected with the story so much. So I absolutely love this book, and thank you to everyone who told me to read this book and for all the hype surrounding this book on BookTube, because I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. And the next book that I read because of BookTube that I loved is actually an entire series, but the first book in the series is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Now, the concept sounded interesting, but I had this book for such a long time and I never picked it up, mostly because I was just not in the mood to read this book. I just wanted to read others besides this one. Not only BookTube, but also my good friends Chloe from the Brunette Bibliophile and Elizabeth from the Owlery, they said that I needed to read this book because it's so great. So I ended up giving it a go. I finally picked up the first book despite the fact that I've had it for so long, and I ended up absolutely loving the series. The characters are so well developed throughout the series, and the plot is so amazing. And thank you again to all of BookTube who hyped up this book series, because I get why it is so hyped up. Alright, and then the next book that I read because it was so hyped up on BookTube that I loved so much is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Now, this is the UK edition of the book, and I think it's so freaking gorgeous. Now, this book came out earlier this year, and it was very hyped up when it first came out, and there is a reason for it. This book is so fantastic. There's no way I can describe this book. I think you have to go into this book blind, because that's how I went to it, and I was so blown away by how beautiful the writing is, how beautiful the character was, and how just intriguing and immersive the world is. Just everything about this book is perfection. Once you really get into the story, it just sucks you in, and the characters are beautiful. It's just a wonderful book, and I honestly can't wait for the next book in the series that's coming out next year. And the final book on this list, one of my top 5 favorite books that I read because of BookTube, is In Amber in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I love this book. It is actually my favorite book that I read this year, and it made its way into one of my favorite books of all time. If you've been on my channel for a while, then you guys know how much I love this book because I praise it so often and I talk about it in so many videos. This book was very hyped up when it first came out, and it's honestly the only reason why I bought the book initially, and I had bought the book way over over a year ago, and I hadn't read it until the beginning of this year. And when I finally did, I was blown away. Now, when I first read the premise of this book, I was like, okay, it sounds interesting, but honestly, it sounded like every other fantasy young adult book out there, so I didn't pick up right away. Like as I said, it sat on my shelves for a long time, but I finally read this book earlier this year, and I was astonished at how amazing this book was. The plotline was interesting, but what really just sealed this book as a favorite for me was the characters. The characters is what honestly made this entire book fantastic. They're beautifully developed. They're beautiful characters themselves, and I actually have a whole book talk on this book if you would like to check out and watch a, like, I don't know, 10-minute long video of me gushing over this book. I'll leave it in the eye and also linked down below for you guys. As I said, I would not have picked up this book if it wasn't so hyped up on BookTube, and I'm so glad that I did, because it is honestly one of my favorite books of all time. And there you go, guys. That was my top 5 favorite books that I read because of BookTube. All of these books are completely fantastic, and some of these books just, I didn't expect to love them as much as I did. And of course, as I said at the beginning of this video, I am planning on doing a part 2 to this video where I talk about my not so favorite books that I read because of BookTube, but that will be coming up later. Let me know down in the comments below what books that you read because of BookTube that you really enjoyed, because I would really love to know. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you like to be friends on those platforms. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day, guys, and keep reading. Bye!